Anavassutacittassa, anvāhatacetaso, Puññapāpapahīnassa, natthi, jāgarato, bhayaṃ. So this verse is similar to verse 38 in that if we come to the last gata, the subject verb is pretty clearly on display, And let's start here. We'll translate this literally, and then we'll talk about actually kind of what it means, and you'll see what I mean by that in a minute. So here we have natthi, and this is just na plus atthi. We say this a lot, that you might expect these two as, when they come together, that they would produce a long A. But typically in Pali, if there are two consonants following a vowel, that vowel will not be long. That's not always the case, and there is an example of that in the Vinaya that I don't think has been uploaded yet, but the video is done. So anyway, we have here, we'll just translate this literally. There is not. Maybe there is no, but for now, there is not. And then let's come over here, bhayaṃ. Bhayaṃ is a neuter word, so this could be accusative, but probably with a verb like to be, this is going to just be nominative. Excuse me, I have a little too much incense going on, I think. So there is not fear. Bhayaṃ is fear. This comes up in some famous passages later in the Dhammapada. At least I think they're famous. So there is not fear, and then we have this word jāgarato. Very similar to what we had here before, avijanato, a present active participle. And this means for one who is awake. Jāgarati is to be awake. This is a person who's awake. It's in the dative case. There is not fear for one who is awake. Now, that's pretty straightforward. The reason I said that we might talk about the meaning is that this is the way Pali expresses possession. So in English, we use the verb to have. And just to say the same thing again, Pali doesn't use the verb to have to mark possession. It uses a form of the verb to be and then the dative case. So to make this less mangled, what this really means is an awake person has no fear. And I wanted to remind myself down here, we're talking about like spiritually awake. So there, I forget what verse it is. There's another verse in the Dhammapada that I think is maybe famous or well known for, the night is long for one who is awake. In that case, it means, it's a very literal, someone maybe who's trying to stay up during the night. And, that's not really what we're talking about here. We're not talking about staying awake at night, or this is being awakened to a higher state of reality, if I could put it like that, or really waking up to the way things are. So enough said on that. And this sort of natthi bhayaṃ, I think, goes with these other three long compound words, or fairly long. So we'll start here at the beginning. And for now, I'll just put in 4 to mark the dative. So we're probably used to seeing this. cittassa. This is the genitive or dative form of cittaṃ, mind. And this is a kamadaria compound. This is really an adjective here, modifying mind, meaning that if we split these apart, these would be in the same case. So avassuta means like to leak out. You could think about the mind leaking out and oozing, but also filled with desire, lustful. And here it is negated. So for a mind that is not lustful, that is not filled with desire, for a mind that's not leaky. So we'll say for a mind, for a mind heart that is not filled with desire. This is not the most beautiful rendering, but... And then we have this same idea here. Now, really, I think cetaso is just a synonym for cittaṃ. This, again, is genitive dative. So we could say for a mind, or, we could maybe say here for a mind and then for a heart, but I'll keep it the same. And the really expert Pali people can let me know how far astray I've gone. So for a mind, and again, this is like a kamadaria, for a not perplexed mind, anvāhata, struck, beaten, perplexed, this is negated. So for a mind that is mind heart that is not perplexed. I like this idea of being struck, though. I feel that sometimes we don't think about how those of us who've suffered some trauma, and everyone has suffered some trauma, so I should just say when we undergo trauma, not being a doctor, I feel that our body stores this trauma. So when that's not the case, if that trauma is if we can overcome that, or if the body finally releases it, or however we want to express that, I think this is sort of a way to think about that. I'm not saying it's the only one. So for a mind heart that is not perplexed or beaten, and excuse me again for the breathing here. Now, this one, I think if you look at translations, you'll see that you might have to add another layer, and that'll become clear after we do this literally. So, puññā is a word for merit, making merit. It's a way actually of cleansing the body of negative karma. Pāpa is really like a word for evil, kind of like sin. They use this in modern Thai to talk about bad things, like if you kill an animal or something. And then pahīnassa, again, this is our dative form here. So pahīnassa comes from pajahati, to give up, to abandon. So as a past participle, given up, abandoned. What has been given up and abandoned? Puññapāpapahīnassa, merit and evil. So this is a way of talking about like going beyond duality. And so now just grammatically, for the having abandoned, we might just say good and evil, or let's keep it merit and evil. Pāpa is going to be an obstruction to a good rebirth. So what I was getting at is this is really like referring to a person. I mean, merit and evil are done by people. They're not really done by cows or lions or, bees or mosquitoes. So, or plants. I'm going to leave it like this. I think the meaning is clear. I'm just going to leave it very literal. And so just to sort of recap, that there is not fear for one who is awake. Now, one thing that would probably improve this translation is if we started here and then went, and I would say maybe just work backwards. There is not fear for one who is awake, for the having abandoned merit and evil, for a mind heart that is not perplexed, for a mind heart that is not filled with desire. That's my take on it, that we could start with the very clear part, grammatically and like in terms of content, and then go from there.